Last week, the RFU made the decision to end the season for all levels below the Premiership following the coronavirus outbreak. Let's get some reaction to that now and speak to Championship side Ampthill's Director of Rugby, Mark Lavery. Mark, all rugby competition bar the Premiership, it's been abandoned for now. What do you think should happen to the league regards promotion from the Championship?
Well, I think it's a very difficult set of circumstances. I think that Newcastle Falcons, to all intents and purposes, have walked the league and nobody got even close to them. So as far as I'm concerned, they're very well worthy champions and a good replacement for Saracens coming down to our competition next season.
That's it, though. It's been suggested that second place Ealing might actually sue if Newcastle get promoted. And just to, on that further, Newcastle, just looking at the table here, they've played 15 and won all 15 of their games. Add 11 bonus points onto that. They've got a big lead over Ealing. So where do you stand on that if Ealing were to go down that route?
Listen, I just think it's really unfortunate that Ealing have possibly taken some of the wrong advice. I think we're in a position where it's a human tragedy unfolding around the globe, and that's putting enormous pressure on the global financial system as well as the human tragedy. And as far as I'm concerned, there should be a little more thought gone into it before some comments were made. And I imagine now, knowing the people at Ealing, you know, reasonably well, they're probably having second thoughts about some of the things that they put in the public domain. I don't think it's a time to be talking about litigation and doing things that aren't in the game's best interests. Newcastle are worthy champions and deserve it, as far as I'm concerned.
Right, we will look out for their next move on that one. We've seen sports from football to rugby having to ask staff and players to take a wage cut. Is that something that you've had to consider?
Well, definitely. I think the circumstances when you lose all that revenue from your gate money, all that revenue from your bar money, and I think that we would have terminated players' contracts, not just wage cuts, terminated players' contracts prior to the Chancellor stepping in last week. And I think the government support has certainly alleviated our concerns about the future and certainly allowed us to fulfil those players' contracts between now and the end of the season. So it's the government has been enormously helpful and we're very thankful for that.
Well, that's fantastic news for your clubs. Now, I'm sure a few others as well. What are the plans now for the club with the season abandoned? Are the players still training? How are they doing that?
No, we've gone into complete lockdown. Basically, on Monday of last week, we stopped all training and all physical contact and interaction between players and anybody else. The club captain, Louis Grimolby, on his own bat, has offered to go out and help the community. Obviously, we have a number of physical training instructors, we have engineers, we have all sorts of medical support to help the people who are vulnerable in society, not just the club and the club members, but other people around the community of Ampthill. So that offer is out there, and we will try, obviously, recognising social distancing is critically important to help the more vulnerable members of society. We've got a bunch of fit young men, and most of them probably will not be affected by this in any way, shape or form. And I think it's a great initiative that Louis and the boys have done to make sure that we help those people less fortunate than ourselves.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Mark, thank you for coming on. Now, more on that breaking news that we brought you earlier, the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, which was due to take place at the beginning of